This is the bad area where all the water's, you'll see when we get down there.
Okay. We see something that looks like a square-headed bolt, which would clearly be a man-made thing. We're looking for some evidence that human beings were inside it.
This is the moment Oak Island blows wide open. An underwater exploration near the swamp just yielded an artifact so out of place it's unbelievable. And this single artifact isn't just another piece of the puzzle, it may be the very key that unlocks the entire island. The find that changes everything. The air on Oak Island is always thick with anticipation, but on this day, it was electric. The focus wasn't on the legendary money pit or the deep drilling operations, but on the murky, mysterious waters just north of the swamp. For years, theories have swirled that the swamp itself is a massive man-made structure designed to hide something of incredible value. Researcher Fred Nolan had long suspected a hidden dam existed along the northern shore, a structure hinted at on the controversial Xena Halpern map.
We located all the large rocks about that size. We didn't know they formed a cross or anything like that.
So the team decided to go looking. With Alex Lagina and Jack Begley watching from the boat, expert diver Tony Sampson prepared to descend into the cold Atlantic shallows. Believe it or not, this area was once dry land, making it a prime spot for lost evidence of past activity. A remote-operated vehicle, or ROV, was deployed alongside the diver, acting as a second set of eyes for the team on the surface. The mission was simple: scan the seabed for anything that looked out of place, anything man-made. As Sampson reached the bottom, his metal detector immediately began to chirp.
Surface to diver, let us know if you see any signs of a structure.
Provincial regulations are incredibly strict. He could look and scan, but he couldn't disturb or retrieve anything without a special permit. He was allowed to fan away the silt, but no digging was permitted. The tension was palpable. He first reported seeing pieces of old timber, possibly remnants of planking from an old structure, maybe even Fred Nolan's hidden dam. This was exciting, but it was just the beginning. Then things took a wild turn. Nestled amongst the rocks and seaweed, the ROV camera spotted something unmistakable: pottery with distinct blue markings. This was a huge deal. Similar pottery had been found on Lot 5 in stone features that were dated back as early as the 17th century.
How big?
This one's about 1 foot just by 6 inches.
Finding more of it here underwater suggested a significant concentration of human activity. The team wondered, was this stuff dropped from a ship or was it part of a settlement on the island itself? Sampson continued his search around a large boulder where the pottery was found, and that's when he saw it. At first, it was just a glint of metal, something small and disc-shaped. As he fanned away the sediment, a clear shape emerged. It was a round object, and unbelievably, it had a square hole right in the middle. Back on the boat, the team stared at the monitor, their minds racing. It looked exactly like an ancient Chinese cash coin. Alex and Jack were stunned into silence. A Chinese coin? Here? How is that even possible? This single artifact, if that's what it was, had the power to change everything. It pointed to a pre-Columbian presence on the island that mainstream history says is impossible. The discovery left the team with more questions than answers. Getting a permit to retrieve the coin and the pottery was now their #1 priority. Truth be told, this wasn't just a find, it was a bombshell. A successful dive had turned into a history-altering event, and the team knew they were on the cusp of something bigger than they had ever imagined. But this single coin was just one piece of a much larger and far more ancient puzzle that was beginning to emerge from the depths. Here's the thing about this underwater coin. It isn't the first of its kind found on Oak Island. This is what makes the discovery so mind-blowing. Back in 2020, near the swamp on Lot 15, Jack Begley and Gary Drayton unearthed another Chinese coin, one that a numismatist or coin expert later confirmed was of Chinese origin and possibly over 1,000 years old.
That's an old coin. That's a little beauty, look at that.
At the time, it was a bizarre outlier, a historical curiosity that no one could quite explain. But now, with a second similar coin found just offshore, a single oddity has become a pattern that points to an unbelievable conclusion. This opens up a whole world of incredible and controversial theories. For centuries, the mainstream narrative has been that Columbus was the first to make a recorded journey to the Americas in 1492. But finds like this suggest that other civilizations may have arrived far earlier. Could Chinese explorers with their massive treasure fleets have made it to North America in the early 14th century, as some historians like Gavin Menzies have controversially proposed? These fleets, commanded by Admiral Zheng He, were the most advanced in the world at the time, dwarfing the ships used by European explorers. Finding their currency on Oak Island would be earth-shattering proof. But the rabbit hole goes even deeper. The discovery also breathes new life into the Knights Templar theory, one of the most enduring legends connected to Oak Island.
The Knights Templar were a powerful religious military order that traveled and settled across Western Europe.
After the Templars were suppressed in the year 1307, they seemingly vanished from history, along with their immense fleet and legendary treasure. The theory goes that they fled Europe and sailed to the New World, using secret knowledge of ocean currents and maps unknown to others. Some researchers believe the Templars had trade connections that reached the Far East. Could they have acquired Chinese currency and used it as they established a base on Oak Island to hide their sacred relics, like the Holy Grail or the Ark of the Covenant? Zena Halpern's map, which led the team to search this area in the first place, becomes even more critical now. Halpern, who claimed to have copies of ancient Templar documents, produced a map showing a hidden dam and structures on the island. If a dam was built to create the swamp, it would have been a massive engineering project, requiring the kind of resources and manpower that an organization like the Knights Templar would have possessed. The Chinese coins, the pottery, the ancient wood, it all points to a well-funded, highly organized operation happening on the island hundreds of years before the money pit was first discovered. The team isn't just digging for pirate treasure anymore. They are uncovering a secret history, a story of ancient mariners and forgotten voyages that could connect the island not just to Europe, but to the entire world. But while these underwater clues point to an ancient past, another incredible discovery was happening deep below ground that pointed to a much more immediate treasure: the race below ground. While the shock waves from the underwater discovery were still settling, another high-stakes operation was unfolding in the heart of the island, the Money Pit area. Get this, the team wasn't just working on one front, they were fighting a war on two. In the Garden Shaft, a structure dating back to the mid-18th century, the team was in a desperate race against time and water.
This is where we're seeing that infiltration of water. This is the bad area where all the water's you'll see when we get down there.
Okay.
Their goal was to push the shaft down to nearly 100 feet, where they hoped to intercept a mysterious 7-foot-high tunnel they had previously detected. This tunnel, carbon dated to as early as the 17th century, runs directly towards a location the team calls the Baby Blob. The Baby Blob isn't just a funny name, it's an area where water samples have shown mind-bogglingly high concentrations of gold and silver. The tunnel is their potential highway to the treasure. But as always on Oak Island, water was their greatest enemy. Water was pouring into the shaft, threatening to undermine the entire project. The crew had to use a specialized urethane grout and expanding foam to plug the leaks just to continue their descent. Every foot they gained was a hard-won victory. At the same time, less than 60 feet away, another team was focused on a borehole designated KL 14.5. Their target? A massive underground chamber they dubbed Aladdin's Cave, located nearly 150 feet deep. They had determined there was a 10-foot-high open space down there, a cavern bigger than anything they had ever seen on the island. They lowered a high-definition camera into the darkness, hoping to see proof that this cave was man-made. The footage was murky, filled with silt and debris swirling in a strange current. But then through the haze, they saw it. Something that looked like a square-headed bolt, a clearly man-made object. This was huge. Natural caves don't have square bolts. Then, in another operation in a shaft known as C1, a diver went down over 170 feet into a similar cavity. Armed with a metal detector, he got a massive hit. He described seeing a large, smooth, rounded object that was so solid he couldn't move it with his hands. It appeared to be a huge block of metal embedded deep within the rock. You see, the Oak Island mystery is a three-dimensional puzzle. The Chinese coin found in the water provides a clue to who might have come to the island and when. But the work deep underground in the Garden Shaft and these mysterious caverns provides clues to what they built and where the treasure might be. It's all connected. The same people who may have dropped that Chinese coin could be the very same engineers who constructed these complex tunnels and chambers deep beneath the surface. The team is closer than ever, fighting on all fronts, and the evidence suggests they are right on top of the final prize. So when you look at everything together, what does it all mean? It's a huge question. Think about it. We have a very old coin from China found deep in the water.
There's definitely a current down there. Seems to be. It looks wide open, but you can't see it through that silt to the wall.
It was sitting right next to what looks like a dam built hundreds of years ago. On top of that, this isn't the first Chinese coin they found. They found another one a few years ago not too far away. At the same time, deep under the ground, the team has found a whole system of tunnels and strange rooms. They've even seen weird metal things that don't look natural. When you lay out all these clues, the story they tell is amazing and very confusing. It's a picture of history that is so different from what we've been told, and it's a picture that Rick and Marty Lagina now have to try and understand. All this evidence seems to point to one big idea. A huge project was happening on Oak Island long before Christopher Columbus ever sailed to America. This wasn't just a couple of pirates burying a single chest of gold. No, this was something much bigger. It must have been carefully planned, cost a lot of money to build, and was kept very, very secret. The Chinese coins are the biggest clue that connects Oak Island to the rest of the world in a way nobody expected. This leads to some wild but exciting ideas. Could explorers from China have sailed here hundreds of years ago? At that time, China had giant fleets of ships that were the best in the world. Or maybe it was the famous Knights Templar. They were a powerful group of knights from Europe who supposedly had a huge treasure. When they got into trouble, the story says they escaped with their treasure and their fleet of ships. Perhaps they sailed across the ocean and chose Oak Island as the perfect secret spot to hide everything they had. Either way, it means that our history books might be wrong. The story of who discovered America might need to be rewritten, and Oak Island could hold the key to that new story. Of course, not everyone believes these grand theories. Some people, called skeptics, have different ideas. They argue that the coins might not be as important as they seem. Maybe a sailor collected a coin during his travels around the world and simply lost it on Oak Island 100 or 200 years ago. Or maybe a coin washed ashore from a more recent shipwreck. It's true that until the team can pull the coin from the water and have experts study it, we can't know for sure. As for the strange metal objects deep underground, the skeptics say they could just be weirdly shaped rocks, or they could be old broken tools and equipment left behind by all the other treasure hunters who have been digging on the island for the past 2 centuries. But the team on the island and many who follow the mystery think there's just too much evidence to ignore. There are too many strange things happening in one tiny place for it to all be an accident. It's not just one coin, it's 2. It's not just a coin, it's also the pottery, the strange wood underwater, the hidden dam, the deep tunnels, and the metal signals. All of these clues seem to point to one main truth. A long time ago, someone with a lot of power and resources came to this island. They worked incredibly hard to build something amazing and to hide it from the rest of the world. By using new modern tools and their own refusal to give up, the Lagina brothers have found more clues than anyone before them. They might not have found a chest filled with gold coins yet, but they may have discovered something that is worth even more, a lost story from our past. Maybe the famous curse of Oak Island isn't really a curse at all. Maybe it's just a very hard puzzle that has protected its secrets for centuries. And now, for the first time in history, it truly feels like the Lagina brothers are closer than ever to finally solving it. The evidence is overwhelming, but what do you think? Is this coin the final proof of a Templar Chinese connection to the New World? Like this video and subscribe for more insane discoveries.